Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the after party. That still sounds stupid, so we're going to stop doing it eventually. Hi, guys. How are you? Hope you're well. I'm tired, a little annoyed. Okay, I'm a lot annoyed, and in a fair amount of pain. So we are going to focus all of that energy on this really ridiculous interview that Candace Owens did with Andrew Tate. Before we start, couple of programming notes just for the record. I am on the big satellite, which means we have probably the 3 to 4 second extra delay between what you guys hear and when I said it. I'm also not really sure how the video will show up because of that. And yeah, we're just gonna it's mostly the audio that's important anyway, because that's just how it is. I watched the Tucker Carlson interview with Andrew Tate, and by the time it was over, I had lost quite a bit of respect for Tucker Carlson. That was an embarrassing interview. In an interview where he looks at Andrew Tate and says, "So you haven't even been charged with a sex crime, like rape or anything?" And Andrew goes, "No." Tucker Carlson's a goddamn journalist, and he should have been able to find the fucking indictment, which indicted him for rape. I mean, literally indicted him for rape. But like, no, I'm not, Tucker. And just let him get away with all kinds of bullshit. And I thought that was bad. I really did. Like, this is fucking trash. Tucker, what you doing? And then, not to be outdone, the Daily Wire's own Candace Owens was like, "Hey, I can get further up his ass." Somebody in chat said that's some thumbnail. The original thumbnail said Owens fillets Tate, and I thought I'd probably get in trouble for that one, but it would have been far more accurate, because this is just such a fucking shit interview. And this is how bad it is. At one point, she complains about how people went after her for this website I thought about making way back because of something that happened to me in high school. She's talking about Social Autopsy. And she said, "They said I wanted to dox people." Because you did. It was literally a doxing website. It was a website where people would go and say, "So-and-so's been mean to me online. Here's their information." But we'll get to that. We'll get there. I'm pretty sure I have the timestamp for that. I was just sitting here going, "Are you out of your fucking mind?" She goes, "Yeah, I just got in trouble for all I made was a splash page." Yeah, you also lied about how long you owned it, lady. But that's neither here nor there. We are here to talk about Tate. She thinks we forgot, right, Nuts? By the way, hi, Nuts. How are you, sweetheart? Yeah, we're just dummies. We're all just like, I don't know what's going on anymore. She thinks we're as dumb as she is. So with that, guys, we are not watching all of this. I have some timestamps that I want to jump around to. I can give you guys I should have thrown this in the description. Maybe I'll remember to do that later. But over here on Rumble, there's your copy. And here on the YouTubes, here's your copy. And that's where you can find the entire 3-hour, 6-minute video. Although, because it is the Daily Wire, there's probably about 2 minutes that's advertisements. Don't worry about it. You can skip over it quickly. Now, one thing is weird. There are at least 2 spots, and I'm going to be honest with you, I skipped the last half hour. It's like, fuck this, I got to go talk about it. But there's at least 2 spots in this where they fast forward that just a tiny little bit and say, "To catch the full interview, go to dailywire.com." And I was like, wait, the 3 hours isn't the full fucking video? And it doesn't really seem like they're talking about anything there. But we'll see. Get ready for 12 hours of monkey. I have no idea how long this will take, because we have some shit to talk about. And God bless. Let's get this on the screen before I forget to do that. Let's see. I want that one. Yeah. And we'll blow it up so we can see Candace's bad eyebrows in all their beautiful glory. And I suppose we should just jump into it. Hey, here we go. This is the beginning of the interview. I skipped the first 10 seconds where she plays her crappy music for her intro, and that's why we're 10 seconds in. Here we go.
Let's just jump right into this. Andrew
Hang on. I was watching it in 1.5x, and I don't want to do that to you guys because it's not cool. Why is that still showing? There we go.
Andrew Tate.
Long time.
I know, it's been a very long time.
Very long time.
Actually, I met you downstairs at the Ritz.
Correct.
George and I were engaged at the time.
Yeah.
Now, she's told this story before, and she doesn't mention it here. I should have brought that up. But she tells this story about how when she first met him, she says, it's when I'm falling in love with my husband, and we go to this party, and he's there, and I don't pay a whole lot of attention to him. But my assistant comes up to me and says, I think that guy's a pimp. And she goes, a pimp? And he goes, yeah, like a real pimp in Romania. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just bring up that clip. It'll take me just a second to find it. Don't worry. This is from the account Murdered by Crayons, which is kind of funny as shit if you're following this Andrew Tate stuff. Lancelot, thank you so much. What the fuck? This is a monkey in the morning, actually in the morning. No, this is an after party in the morning. Monkey in the morning is already come and gone, my friend. Come and gone. Oh, shit. Where's that video? Come on. I know it's right here. I'm not too far from it. Here it is. All right. Let me get this one on the screen. Wait for it. Come on. All right. Unfortunately, there's music in this one, and it's really fucking loud. How loud is my speaker? No, not that loud. So this might blow out your ears. So hang on. Here's her describing when she first met Tate.
Tate's story is interesting to me for a lot of reasons. The first is because of how I met Andrew Tate. Totally weird story. Andrew Tate was at the Ritz in London when me and my husband first fell in love, and he was with a mutual friend of ours. I met him as I was having this dinner with my husband and his friend. Andrew Tate was there. I had no idea who he was. This is kind of before he really took off on the internet. He was very nice to me. I have nothing bad to say about how he treated me. He was very kind. He wasn't wearing glasses inside as he does now. I think that's kind of his online persona. I had my assistant at the time with me, who happened to be Romanian. She's born in Romania, speaks Romanian. She was also a young woman who was obsessed with Instagram. This kind of a girl that would pose seductively.
I'm so going to get in trouble for the music on this crappy video.
On the internet, right? And she spent a lot of the time that we were there talking to him. She comes over to me afterwards and she says, this guy, Andrew Tate, I think he's a pimp in Romania. I said, what? And she's like, no, I think he's like actually a pimp in Romania.
All right. So that's her story about how she met him. That's a little different. We met at the hotel. She never brings up, as far as I remember, him being a pimp, and that being her first introduction to the guy. So he's not a jerk to random people he meets. Dude deserves a medal. Right. He wasn't like, what up, bitch? Go sit over there, ho. Ain't nobody got time for you. Anyhow, RIP headphone user. Hey, I gave a warning. That shit was loud as shit. Anyway, so just a little context for their first meeting there.
And I probably was very swept up in George and barely got time to talk to you. But I do remember you being very polite.
Do you remember your assistant telling you he was a pimp?
It's interesting to fast forward to today, and you were very much in the UK circuit.
Yeah.
Now it seems like your celebrity is kind of really hitting the US market. They're kind of finding you for the first time.
This is something I don't understand. Tate has been big for a while, even here in the US. But it's a lot of these damn near mainstream media folks. I'm just going to be honest and call them what they are, who are just now recognizing who Tate is. Like, you're just getting in the US market. The fuck are you talking about? I mean, I guess if you only pay attention when the story goes big, then yeah, he's only been big for a couple of months since his arrest, basically.
Digging up a bunch of old clips, and there's a lot of pressure now on conservatives to say something really awful about you.
No. There's not pressure on conservatives to say something awful about him. If you don't want to say anything awful about Andrew Tate, that's fine. What you shouldn't be doing is defending him without knowing what the hell you're talking about, which is exactly what you do. Well, actually, I think you know what you're talking about, and I think you purposefully hide it. But we'll get to that later.
There seems to be a pressure on everybody on all sides to say something awful about me. I kind of feel like
nobody's pressuring me to say it. I just think you're a twat. I just want that to be clear too. I think he's a douchebag, and nobody has pressured me at all to say that. I've just paid attention to the man.
I've been placed in a position where there's always someone attacking me new each day.
That's okay. He tells us much later that he doesn't even pay attention to any attacks. He ain't got time for that shit. He right here, there's a new person attacking him each day, but he don't read none of it or watch any of it. He knows all about it.
But I guess I was built for it because it doesn't bother me like it should, perhaps.
You seem to be doing pretty well given the circumstances.
I know the truth in my heart, and I know that what I say is the truth, and I understand very well the internet and how it works. And I also think I'm perspicacious enough to understand there's certainly a degree.
What does perspicacious mean? Is that a word? I'm not saying it's not. It's one I've never heard. Perspicacious.
Degree of weaponized virtue and perhaps a degree of jealousy and perhaps a few other things that are involved in all of these attacks. I don't
weaponize virtue. Hey, do you think pimping women against their will is wrong? Yeah. You fucking virtue signaler.
Believe that people who sit and attack somebody for their past, especially something from so long ago.
It's not from that long ago. It's the latest examples actually up to 2022, homie.
Are genuinely virtuous. I don't think it's about virtue. I think it's about, well, I can get some clicks this way, or I can get some views that way, or
I will say for 100%, I'm looking forward to views from Andrew Tate. I think it's funny. But I won't get the 2 million views, which is the last I saw of Candace Owens here. 2 million views for this shit. You want to know why there's so many people talking to this douchebag and defending this douchebag? One, you have to defend him if you're going to talk to him. Except for that BBC lady. That was an interesting interview. But everybody else is out there sucking his balls because it gets you a lot of likes.
Did the biggest interview ever, or whatever it is. There's certainly some other motivations. And I don't want to say water off a duck's back. I don't want to come across as arrogant.
That doesn't mean arrogant. That would be like aloof, man, at worst. Otherwise, it would just mean you don't care.
I do believe that since the dawn of human time, every single king with any kind of empire was constantly at war.
He sees himself as a king with an empire. I mean, I guess. But this is not nation states coming at you, shithead.
And I think if you're going to become one of the most famous people on the internet, you're going to be at war, and you'd be a fool to become massively influential and then cry about the fact that you end up in constant battles.
Look, there were a lot of people who had started attacking Tate before his charges came out, but most of the people who were attacking him are since it's come out that he's been, accused of rape and forcing women to do pornography against their will. I don't think that's the same thing as nation states going to war there, Andy.
Doesn't matter if you're Napoleon or Charlemagne or Genghis Khan. There's always someone prodding the edges of your empire, trying to find weakness.
Thank you. I see Andrew Tate is back. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And Candace is going to clean it for him.
A little bit of land they can take. And I think it's always been the same. And right now, I guess you could say, to a degree, I certainly have an empire and I'm massively influential. And there's a degree of, I wouldn't say jealousy, but there's certainly some ambitious people who are trying to damage it. I think that's what it is.
Okay. Typically, when a nation state, in this case is his example, would take over another territory, was to own that territory. It would make sense if there was somebody who was trying to take over the Tate empire, the biggest douche on the internet, being the one going after him. But it's not. It's just people who can read. And, of course, pay attention to what the fucking idiot has said out loud.
So I did see a mashup clip that we're not going to show because I thought it was unfair. I will say that. Yeah. Only because there was no context provided to the clips. It was just an extract of something that you said that 10 years ago. Some of them were literally 10 years ago.
Some of them were literally last year. I love that she does this all throughout this. 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 10 years ago. Makes it sound like the longest time ago ever in history. And that's fine. If you want to go, hey, Andrew Tate was a douche 10 years ago. He's changed himself. He's not that guy anymore. All right. But last year, the year before, 2020, when he still said he had women working for him in the cam business that he says he doesn't have? All right. Tell me about that 10 years ago, Candace.
Didn't know what year it was from, didn't know who you were talking to, didn't know what context it was.
Well,
and
what you could have done, Candace, and I'm just going to throw this out there, is go look. Go find out where those clips came from. Most of them are still on the internet. Now, one of the most famous ones has been taken down by Andrew Tate himself, who tells us later in this video that he's glad it's still on the internet. I'm not making that up.
I've been victimized online by something like that before.
In fact, it's taken down. So she had to get it from another site to show it on this video. This video clip, it's the one where he's talking about how you get women and you don't tell them right off that you're in the cam business. That video's been taken down. And in it, he basically, we'll get to that later. I'm jumping ahead of myself. There's so much I want to say about this fucking asshole and this idiot who's interviewing him here.
Or where somebody takes something abstract and says, well, this is must be what she means, until they're provided the full context of the clip.
Yeah. And
I also take exception to, I think, digging back 10 years. I don't know who could survive that litmus test. I'm 34 years old today.
Candace, once again, not all of it's 10 years old. And if you want to, here's what you could have done. Seriously, you want to help this man out? Why didn't you go find the full clips to give the full context? Wouldn't that be the right thing to do? Here's the mashup. And look, this is where they took him out of context, guys. The problem is he wasn't taken out of context. He's a fucking douchebag. He said what he meant. He basically indicted himself. Everything that he's accused of, except for even keeping him against their will, he's said online. You got to have them dependent on you. Strong dislike of the manosphere people is going to give you an actual heart attack. I don't dislike the manosphere, all manosphere people. I hate people like this who's admitted to robbing men for his own personal gain while pretending he's out there helping men.
Years ago, today I speak to my audience. I talk about, they call me puritanical. I talk about, not drinking.
Yeah.
I think the biggest change has been becoming a mother. Yeah. And it would really be unfair if we went and found Candace at 24 years old, liberal, dancing at One Oak and said, well, look at these clips of Candace Owens. Fortunately, I had no cameras in my face 10 years.
10 years ago, Candace, even without cameras in your face, were you pimping women and holding them against their will and telling other people how to do it? I'm just asking because you seem really worried about what it would have. If you recorded me 10 years ago, actually, I'm probably all over the internet 10 years ago. You're not going to find me going, yeah, what you need to do is get that bitch to love you. And then you have your bottom bitch come in, right? And you have her teach her how to do the porn side. And then you steal half her money. You say, look, we're going to split this 50-50. And then so that you can take more of her money, you tell her you got to take 20% in taxes. That way you get to steal more of her money, even though you ain't really paying the taxes. That's what this fucking idiot said. And you're going to sit there and pretend that, oh, it's just 10 years. It's just 10 years ago. Knock it off with the 10 years ago shit.
Years ago,
yeah.
You somehow did. So I think it's a bit unfair. I also think that some of the critique that is coming your way is coming from people who are well-intentioned, like they actually don't perceive, maybe perhaps, okay, this is 10 years ago, what the context is, has he changed since? So I will ask the question, and we are going to get into some of those clips. You said you're an open book.
Yeah. You get into a clip that you cut off right before a more interesting part.
How have you transformed? I've seen changes just, I think, in the last 5 years.
Yep.
Oh, you've seen changes in the last 5 years. Well, why weren't you talking about what he said 5 years ago? Why you push it back a full decade, Candace? That's an interesting question. Lancelot, thank you. Do we have any proof of the grape? Not defending the man. He can suck off a shotgun, but just curious. It's in the indictment. There's 2 charges of rape against him. Did he actually do it? I don't know. But it is in the charges.
Who are you today? How have you transformed?
That's a very good question. It's also very important when you talk about Candace from 10 years ago. The idea that you did something 10 years ago, which you would no longer agree with, is one thing. But the second thing, to come along to the conclusion that you now have no value to add to the world would be massively unfair.
Well, here's the reason people are going. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna interrupt this whole fucking thing. Here's the reason people keep going to up to 10-year-old clips, because they're relevant to the fucking thing you're accused of, shithead. It's not like he was, 10 years ago saying we should punch babies, and then now jump fast forward like, oh, he's accused of rape and human trafficking. He punched babies, so that means he did it. No, they're doing it because it's relevant to the fucking charges against you.
Right?
How far are we in? 4 minutes. Jesus Christ.
Changes, and that's fine. I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit and apologize for his past.
Not.
I believe all's well that ends well. I believe we're humans and we grow and we learn. I'd be a fool, and I'd be
all's well that ends well when you're facing indictments. I mean, I guess for some people that would be all's well that ends well.
Disingenuous to sit here and pretend I was sorry for something I did in the past, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be very honest to everyone at home. I've talked.
Understatement. You can be as mad as you want about me making fun of this piece of shit, but trying to convince people that I'm a feminist, maybe try a different tact. Pull out some other buzzword.
At length for a very long time about my history and the fact I used to run a webcam business, and I don't feel guilty for that. I know that's maybe what they want from me. I don't feel sorry for that. I've never hurt anybody. It has nothing to do with my current criminal case.
Actually, it kind of does. It has nothing to do with my current criminal case. Actually, it does. Because my webcam business, it just changed to an OnlyFans business. He'll tell you it's just on TikTok, which he overpronounces for some reason. But the actual charges are that he was forcing chicks to do OnlyFans. That's all.
Everybody who worked for me was very positive. In fact, my number one supporter is currently online, and my best lifelong friends and some of the letters I got in jail were from people who worked for me at that time. And I had a business, and I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that I feel guilty or I feel sorry for that. I'm from a low income background. I did what I had to do to survive.
Literally robbing the girls who work for you by lying to them and telling them that you had to pay taxes so you could take 20% more of the money. That's what you had to do to survive. How long did you have to do that to survive? Because according to you, you were making thousands of dollars a month, and you eventually became a multimillionaire. How long did you have to do that to survive, Andy? Who falls for this shit? Seriously. Even if he's like, okay, I did it until I got back on my feet and I could get myself a good paying job. All right. Fair enough, I guess. But you kept doing it for years. It's just what I had to do to survive, you guys. God, he's a fucking liar.
And truthfully, all in all,
how come lightning did not strike him right there? He said, truthfully, that this is why I question the existence of God. He should have been struck by lightning right there.
Being very honest, I don't think what I did was really that bad. And I want to say that. And I know people are going to lose their minds for it. But
if you're just talking about running a webcam business, forget all the other bullshit you said, okay? Just running a webcam business, you're just a porn hustler. I don't think it's that bad either. That might have some people, oh my, I don't care about porn. If everybody's consenting, I don't give a shit. I don't think that's what makes you a bad man, Andy. I think what makes you a bad man is that you're a fucking liar, you're a poser, and you teach men to be incredibly horrible to women in the name of picking up chicks, which is why you're still single.
I didn't sell drugs.
All right, we got to stop there. We got to stop there for just a moment because we have another video to watch. Now, this one is brought to us by Ridvan. I can't say that. Ademir. I don't fucking know. So this is a mashup. He just said this. I didn't sell drugs.
I didn't sell drugs. So when I was 24, 25, I sold drugs.
Whoops.
Long time ago now. I didn't sell drugs. To be honest and open about my past. I was a fighter, but fighting wasn't paying the bills, sold drugs, whatever. I didn't sell drugs.
Whoops.
So I'm selling drugs. I didn't sell drugs. I didn't really like selling drugs. I didn't sell drugs.
We'll stop there. I guess I hope you get the point at that. I didn't sell drugs, but you did by your own words. I didn't sell drugs, but you did. See, this is part of the problem with Andy. He said a whole lot of shit back then, and now he's trying to retcon it all. So there was no reason for him to lie about this. He could just, yeah, I used to sell drugs. It's something I did. I didn't sell drugs. Which one of you should I believe, Andy? Which one? Which one of you is the liar? Because either way, it makes both of you the liar.
I didn't kill anybody. I mean, what did I do? I found a gap in the market and I helped some people organize some accounts on an internet website. That's what I did. And they're going to try and criticize me and crucify me for the next 100 years because of it, because of clips that were made 10 years ago. I think it's disingenuous. And I don't think
one of those clips, which I keep bringing up, and I'm sorry, I don't have the clip of this, is him telling people how he used to defraud men, that he would purposefully lie to them to get more money out of them, as he pretended to be the chick behind the keyboard, which I don't know if we're going to get to it in here. He changes that story in this because in the original telling of it, he used to do the behind the scenes talking to the guys as the girls were on camera. In this, he's like, nah, man, the girls, they talk to the guys, and yeah.
Anyone actually really cares about the virtue of it, because nobody who was involved in my life back then is complaining about anything. I think it's just an attack on me. And certainly we learn and we grow.
Back then, how far back are we talking? Because you guys use the 10-year mark, and maybe 10 years ago, there's nobody bitching about you. 8 years ago, there is.
When we changed.
Sorry, 7 years.
But it's very interesting how hypocritical the idea of looking at somebody's life over such a long period actually is. I mean, we can look at Donald Trump, right? Who I'm a fan of. I guess I know you've had your ups and downs with him, but in the conservative sphere, he's pretty well
Wasn't he just insulting Trump the other day and saying that he was just like Biden? I swear that was on Twitter.
Respected. Donald Trump used to own the Miss Universe pageant.
That's not the same as pimping women against their will, man. I'm just throwing that out there. One of the problems I have with these interviewers, Carlson did it, Candace does it. They just let this idiot keep speaking. It's just owning the Miss Universe pageant is not comparable to what you've been accused of, even by people who are not accusing you of criminal activity.
Are we going to criticize him?
Lots of people.
Are we going to crucify him? What about the girls he had in Miss Universe who decided to go on and do Playboy magazine? Is he a bad person now?
Did he force them to do Playgirl or Playboy magazine? Because if so, then yeah. If not, if that was actually a choice they made after they left the competition, I'm just going to say probably not the same. Mr. E, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mr. E. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. I'm sorry I sang that song to you with a douchebag on the screen. I feel bad about that, but happy birthday. Hope you have a great one.
Why? Now, that's not Christian values, right? People are messy and life is messy and nothing is completely clean. And this idea that you're going to find somebody and 10 or 11 years ago, they did something which might even be slightly distasteful, not even illegal. And you're going to
see, I really hate this too, because cancel culture, a lot of what we've seen happen is somebody 10 or 12 years ago said something on Twitter. They made a bad joke on Twitter and got canceled for it. That's not what people are talking about with you, shithead. But you're gonna attach yourself to that because that's what it conjures in people's minds. Oh, the 10 or 12 years ago. Yeah, you can't hold people responsible for what they said 10 or 12 years ago. You can if it's still how they're acting, shithead.
Crucify him forever. I just don't believe that's genuine virtue. I think it's just an attack.
I do think what's happening right now is they are wrongly conflating you having run a webcam business, however long it was ago, to the criminal cases happening in Romania. And
we'll get back to this. They're wrongly conflating it. Wrongly conflating it.
And this is why I interjected in my voice when people were saying, he's not a conservative, he's not a Christian. I don't understand why Christians are giving him a...
He's a Muslim. I don't really give a shit about the rest of it, but whether he's conservative or Christian or Muslim has nothing to do with what he's accused of or the shit he's admitted to.
platform.
And I'm very sorry to interrupt. I'm very sorry to interrupt you. But yeah, I will say right now, I would never consider myself a conservative from that standpoint.
Right.
I'm a rational actor. I'm a reasonable person. I'm intelligent. I use my brain.
I will give him that. He's smart enough to know how to take advantage of people. Most con men are.
And I guess that makes me align with many conservative issues overall, because the other
It's how you pull off a fraud.
side have lost their minds. I don't wake up and stand there as a conservative figure. I don't consider myself a conservative figure. I've just ended up aligning with them on a lot of core issues because I'm a forward-thinking, rational
Nobody's
person.
suggesting you're a conservative figure. They're wondering why people like Tucker Carlson and now Candace Owens, who claim to be conservative, are giving your bitch ass a free ride, a free pass, not asking you about anything real.
But I'm certainly not a conservative. I don't stand up and say, hey, I'm a conservative. I'm not interested in whether the conservative want to embrace me from that perspective or not. I have no interest in that. I wasn't even particularly political until my recent debacle, where I realized a lot of things about the world and how avoiding politics will not save you, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's one of the things I pointed out. I said, he's never said he was conservative. Why are we, he is not identifying as a Christian. So why are we suddenly using that as whether or not a Christian, a conservative can put him on a platform and talk about something that...
No. Not put him on a platform, pull him on their platform and stick him on a pedestal. That's why.
Is relevant. And something that is relevant is whether or not you are being wrongly or unfairly persecuted by a government.
Yeah. And that's a fair question. Is he rightly or wrongly being... Now, it depends on which side that you're looking at. Because according to Andrew Tate and his brother, what's that retard's name? Tristan. Andrew and Tristan, they're only being charged with having girls do TikTok in 2022. That's not what they're charged with. But we'll get to that again later, too. Now, I want to jump ahead to the 25-minute mark because I can't watch all of this shit. It will annoy me to the point where by the time we're done, I'll lose my voice, and this will be a 15-hour stream. This is good enough. I don't remember why I put the timestamps here. Hey, Mickey. I don't remember what made me choose each of the timestamps, so I only made notes on a couple of them where I specifically wanted. I know I was going to be going back to them a couple of times. So let's find out why this one annoyed me.
Side note, I actually want to make this clear. We talk about things people have done in the past for money. I beat people up for money.
Oh, this is where he's now conflating. Look, yes, you were a kickboxer in a sanctioned event that you had to get licensed for. Where do you get a pimp license at, Andy? Where do you get a human trafficking license from, Andy? They keep trying to make this just about him having a webcam business. That's not it. That's not it. Nobody's persecuting him for having a webcam business. It's for how he fucking ran it. If he was running around just beating people up in the streets, that's an entirely different thing than a sanctioned kickboxing match. But it sounds smart to stupid people.
I hurt people for money. I don't often tell people this, and I think it's the first interview I've mentioned it in. There's a person who can never walk the same again because he fought me. I've had 87 professional...
He's such a braggart. I don't know if that one's true or not. He used to brag that like when he was 4 or 5 years old, he won the junior chess championship, which goes up to 16-year-olds in his state. I forget which state it is, but that is completely false. I don't know if he actually hurt somebody, but I guess I'll take his word for it.
Fights, and I did my best to kill people.
You did your best to kill people in a kickboxing match. I find that hard to believe. Most boxers, kickboxers, and them MMA guys do not want to permanently hurt their opponent. They don't, no matter what they say in the pre-fight. It's why you see them hug afterwards, no matter what the fuck they said. You don't want that because that's just very likely going to kill your sport. And plus, you don't want to actually murder somebody unless you're a fucking psychopath, Andy. But I was trying to kill people. No, you weren't. Shut up. Why do you got to make you even got to brag about that? I was going to kill him. Fuck you.
You're going to sit here and talk about what I did for money. I literally hurt people for money. And so I'm all.
Did you do it for the mob, Andy, or did you do it in a professional sport? Because, I mean, technically in football, the defense is, their job is to hurt people. They don't want to permanently hurt them necessarily, but if you've ever been tackled, you know that shit hurts. Does he think he's Drago? This isn't Rocky. He's everything.
A perfect person. I'm not sorry for my kickboxing career or my cage fights. I'm not sorry for any of it. I had bare knuckle fights. I'm not sorry for any of them. Right? I was a person who had to pay the bills. I lived the life I lived. I used the tools I had, and I ended up opening a webcam company where girls would sit on a laptop and they would talk to guys on the internet.
Oh, this is why I saved it. It wasn't actually for his braggadocious bullshit. It was for this. This is what I was just talking about. He has admitted several times that when the girls would come in and do their webcamming, that he would be the one who does the typing and talking to the guys.
Opening a webcam company where girls would sit on a laptop and they would talk to guys on the internet for money. That's what they would do.
Interesting.
The girls would sit there fully clothed or a bikini. Some of them would paint pictures. Some of them would sing songs. It's very similar to Twitch is now. Twitch is almost more sexual than the sexual websites were back then.
Bullshit.
I helped the girls set up accounts. We worked together. I helped them become as popular as possible. And everybody made money and everybody was happy.
Why don't you mention right here how you used to defraud the gentleman? How you used to be the one typing, Andy. Truthfully, that was your word earlier, right? Truthfully.
And nobody is complaining about it. Nobody's upset about it. None of the girls who worked for me are upset about it. The government aren't after me for it. It's perfectly legal. Nothing's wrong with it. There's just a whole bunch of people who now think that they can take the moral high ground against me because I previously ran this company. And I think I can anticipate the question you're going to ask. How do I reconcile with the fact that I used to produce pornography or degree pornographic content?
Now men are writing to you like, how do I?
And now men are trying to escape it.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. There's a few different ways I can answer
That question I just asked myself is a really good question.
that question. I think the first way I'll answer it is if you
you.
own a liquor store and an alcoholic comes in and you refuse to sell him alcohol, does he stop being an alcoholic?
No.
He just goes and buys from someone else. So that's the cop out.
Yeah, okay. At least he admits that's a cop out.
Answer. The cop out is, well, these people who are addicted are always going to be addicted, regardless of whether I did it or not. So that's the cop out answer. But the second answer I can give, which I think is more detailed and probably more nuanced,
Why don't you give the honest answer? You're giving the cop out the cop out answer and the more nuanced answer. What about the honest answer, dickhead? You're all about the honesty. You just tell people the truth. You're breaking the matrix. How about the honest answer?
Is one, I intimately understand the relationship between men and these websites. I've had and seen men give away their life savings to girls they've never met.
I've done it. I have tricked them into giving me their life savings. Say that, you lying little fuck.
And these websites, I've had and seen men give away their life savings to girls they've never met. I've watched and I've seen it. And I actually think a lot of the insights I give.
You did it by lying to them, telling them that they get to meet these girls of their dreams, you fucknut. And then when they're supposed to meet, pulling some, oh my God, I just feel a little bit like you're scaring me right now, so I can't do it right now. You fucking piece of shit. Cryptic, thank you. Honestly means you haven't been honest.
A lot of the things I tell the world about the mental health crisis, about men being so constantly lonely, about how important it is to build yourself into a high value man, about how money alone is not enough. I explain all these things.
A Bugatti as well.
A lot of these are lessons from the webcam days. I saw dudes who had a whole bunch of money, no other attributes, and they ended up on these websites spending hundreds of thousands of dollars because they didn't have anything else. So
because you were lying to them. Don't forget that part. That's a big part of it, Andy.
I think I learned a lot of important life lessons, and I do my best to try and pass them on to people. But I guess
through his Hustlers University, where you too can go learn how to, sex traffic women.
So, and this is the final answer I want to give about this whole subject, is that I do think I can take the question you're asking and reverse engineer.
Now we skipped it, so I'm not sure if she asked this question, if this is another one he asked himself. So I guess I gotta take his word for it.
Engineer it and use it against the people who are trying to attack me
Uh-huh.
for it. My answer to it would be, how do you sit and want to criticize me for being involved in the production of pornography 10 or 11 years ago if you're involved in the consumption of it?
Again, I don't give a shit if you produce pornography, as long as it's all on the up and up. Otherwise, I really couldn't care less. All right, we're going to jump ahead again. What's this next one? A little bit back. Just after her commercial here.
Conservatives who identify and say, I'm a conservative, to recognize that the people, it's not people that are perfect that are bringing people over to our side. I was not brought over to conservative principles by people preaching at me and telling me how perfect their lives were. It was actually people that were much more broken that led me here, which is fascinating. I got interested in business because of Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with getting in business because of Jay-Z. Which broken people exactly? Because as far as I remember, she never tells us.
I criticize him all the time now.
But I'm sorry, I got to stop again. It's not the people who are pious who are bringing people over. All right. Is it people who are under indictment for pimping women and keeping them against their will? Because I feel like there's some middle ground there. I feel like there's a difference between flawed and fucking criminal. And again, he's just under indictment. He hasn't been convicted yet. But O.J. Simpson didn't go to jail either, so...
about things that he does.
But you're not...
I got interested, in Kanye West, him doing a Christian album and things of that nature. You need people that are flawed.
You need people that are real. This is the thing.
You need people that are real. This is the guy who won a chess tournament when he was 5. I want to say 5. We'll give him... We'll say 5 just to be sure. I know it's 4 or 5, but just to be safe, 5. You need somebody who's real like him, who won a chess tournament when he was 5, and who, when he came out and the doctor slapped him on the ass, he didn't cry. He growled at the doctor. That's what this fucker has claimed. You need to be real like Andy here. Speaking of real, what's up, my friend?
Hi.
Guys, we are on the big satellite, so me and him might have a little bit of a delay. Jack, how you doing this morning?
I'm okay. How about yourself?
I'm amused because I watched this whole fucking interview.
Oh,
well, okay,
yeah.
I watched all but the last half hour of this video.
Why do people that don't know anything about Andrew Tate keep interviewing Andrew Tate?
Oh, I can answer that. Ratings.
I guess, but you'd think that they would do better ratings, or at least get more eyeballs if they were asking a few tough questions.
Because if you ask tough questions, you might get the angry people in there going, "How dare you question our Lord and Savior, Andy?"
That's true, and he did claim that his war room was more dangerous than having state actors after you.
He absolutely did, but don't pay any attention to that, man. It's just 10 or 12 years ago, he made some modest porn that wasn't even really porn by today's standards. So I don't know what everybody's mad about.
Yeah, he's never intimidated or threatened anyone, like that time he bragged about sending an SUV full of guys to some reporter's house until the reporter
Doxed
signed
the guy
an NDA.
online.
Yeah. Made the reporter sign a non-disclosure so that he can't talk shit about Andrew Tate anymore. No, he's an honest, upstanding, true role model for young men if they want to be in the mob.
Lancelot, thank you. She sounds like Kamala. I listened to Tupac in high school. Yeah, a little bit.
I think they
But come on. She saw the Cobra Tate.
I bet she did.
I'm not particularly political. I didn't consider myself particularly political, but it looks like I'm kind of ending up there. And like I said, I'm a realist, which puts me on the conservative side, and I'm not stupid. And I understand very well about the world and propaganda and what they're trying to do to us. So you end up being a conservative.
He absolutely understands about propaganda.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
100%.
100%. I'd say that's probably one of his strongest skills.
Yes.
By default. But you're a real person if you have flaws. If you want to sit and tell,
you're a real person if you don't have flaws, man.
I don't know. I've met a few people that are questionable.
All right, we're going to jump ahead one more time here, guys. Right about here. Again, I don't have notes on why I picked these timestamps, so good luck to us all. I do have a couple of notes, Jack, but it's only ones that I know I'm going to come back to after we watch something that passes it.
They're going to be like my notes where it's like makes no sense. And you're like, I wrote a word down. I don't know what it means.
No, these first 5, literally, there is no note next to them. It's just a timestamp. So, good luck
for it. And this is what I've done, and this is what I intend on doing. And I'm going to try and save the world.
So I want to shift gears here and talk about your dad. I'm quite fascinated by your dad. He passed recently.
Yeah.
How many years ago?
9, I think 9 years.
9
All
years
right,
ago.
That's why I did it. So far, we've watched these two, and this is I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but the entirety of the video we watched so far, 10 or 12 years ago, just so long ago. 9 years ago, recently.
Yeah, that's very confusing to me.
Isn't it?
Real quick, thank you, Pumpkin Hawk, who says, "How are you?" Not too bad. Really busy. I'm on what I consider my lunch break. So, yeah. Otherwise, right back to I gotta go mow 2 lawns. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, when I saw this one, I'm like, it's a little petty to take that point, but they've been beating this 10 and 12 year drum so much. When she said he passed recently, and he goes, "Yeah, 9 years."
Yeah, the indictment talks about 2016, 17, 18, 20, and 21, 22. So it's not like this is the ancient past.
You're getting ahead.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, but hold that thought, because we will get to that.
Totally scripted.
This is proof that we don't script this show, except for when we absolutely script every episode.
Except for when it's required by YouTube.
All right. This next part, we're jumping way ahead. There's a lot. Again, guys, I'll throw the link back in or put it in the chat. Just look up Candace Owens, Andrew Tate, and you can find it. Again, here we go. I have no idea. I don't know what the fuck I pulled up.
The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no. It's interesting what you said earlier about putting things back to biology, because a lot of human nature is certainly animalistically biological. And even if we look at Harry and Meghan and how they interact in their home.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So he's getting ready to talk about Prince Harry and Meghan thing that he married.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to what he describes here. Okay. Pay attention to what he describes.
Obviously don't know, but I can almost guess to the T the arguments they're having. I can imagine him saying, "I gave up my family for you. This is what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted. Why aren't you happy? I gave you everything you liked." And he's trying to use a logical.
Now, if you've read the leaks from the War Room, that shit sounds very familiar. He was sharing text messages with this one chick where it's basically her saying that I gave up everything for you. I want to just be. And he's like, "I heard that you were working in a sex club." And she's like, "I didn't do that." And he made it up. He admits he made it up
to break her will and make her more devout to him, which is what you would do if you were a pimp.
So, of course, this is immediately where his mind goes when he's imagining how other people's conversations go.
Yeah,
it's amazing how even there, even there, it's the same fucking shit. Anyway, that just made me laugh when he said that part. All right, the next part, Jack. Now we're getting into the indictment. Let's jump forward to 145 and some change here. That's close enough. Do. Take it away, dummy.
Fair enough. I won't push you any further on that. All right, let's get to your case that's happening today. So, and why conservatives are screaming about it in America, and why they feel that Tucker didn't push you enough on this case.
Push me.
Okay. So first and foremost,
push him. Okay, let's take a vote in chat. Seeing what you've seen so far, how many of you think she's going to push him? Give me a 1. If you think she's going to, Candace Owens this shit, give me a 2.
You think she's going to push it real good?
Push it real good. I bet they did off camera.
Yeah.
All right, so here she goes. She's going to push him. Push him.
I want to clarify for people that are watching this is that there seems to be this understanding.
Real quick, if you watched Monkey in the Morning last night, this part might seem familiar to you. We did watch this clip, or at least part of this clip. But it goes further. That's why we're still doing it.
That you are being prosecuted, or you're being indicted rather, for human sex trafficking charges. I've read the indictment, and I do want to make it clear the words human sex trafficking occur on the indictment, but then it.
All right. I love that she said that. There's a sense that you're being indicted for human sex trafficking, and I read it, and those words are in there. Well, yeah, because that's what he's being indicted for. She didn't say, and you are being indicted for it, but those words are in there. Oh, Candace, fucking idiot.
And I do want to make it clear, the words human sex trafficking occur on the indictment, but then it makes it very clear that what they're referring to is they kind of extended the term. It's not what we think about in America. All
right, I want to stop that right there, because there's a couple of things, and Jack alluded to it earlier. You can see some dates on the screen. You can see several dates. You see 2016, 2017, and 2018. Keep those dates in mind. We'll come back to it in a little bit. But she highlights this by falsely inducing her about the intention to establish a family/marriage relationship and the existence of false feelings. As though that is the only thing that they're talking about. Notice she doesn't highlight down here the aim of sexually exploiting her. They forced her to engage in pornographic activities. Thank you, Cryptic, who says, nice constipation pause. Thank you. My pause game is always on point. I can't be the only one who noticed that she kind of skipped the actual, criminal part of it.
Yeah, well, don't think she understood this or actually read it. Some intern probably did.
No, she said she read it. Remember? She told us that because that's how she knew the words did appear there.
Well,
she read it.
She didn't understand it then. Or she's purposely being disingenuous.
All right.
Think of a bunch of children being put into a truck and taken over the border against their will.
Yes, that's what some people get in their minds when you say human trafficking. I mentioned last night that with that movie, that's definitely something that needs to be clarified. He is not being charged with kidnapping. He's not being charged with grabbing a kid off the street, forcing him into sex work in Romania. Article 10, paragraph 1 in the criminal code over there describes this very thing. It describes what he's being charged with. But I also want to point out that it also has more dates for us: 2016 to 2018, 2022 to 2022, 2021 to 2022, and 2001 to 2022. So we have several time periods here, the earliest of which is 2016. Remember, guys, that's a decade ago. All right, I'm gonna back this up so you guys can we can hear it in its entirety. I just needed to point out 2016 to you.
Makes it very clear that what they're referring to is they've kind of extended the term. It's not what we think about in America when you think of a bunch of children being put into a truck and taken over the border against their will. They're basically saying that if you trick a woman into coming into a country by using the lover boy method, then they consider that to be human sex trafficking. So the definition has definitely expanded over time.
Well, it's also ridiculously misogynistic.
She doesn't bring up the part about keeping them against their will, which is weird because that's part of the charge there. It's not just tricking them into coming over there. It's making it so they can't leave once they're there. semantics, I guess.
I
I
guess.
believe that women can't make their own decisions on anything. So the whole thing about it is misogynistic. But yeah, you're correct. That's a very important distinction.
Essentially what they're saying is we have a show in America called 90 Day Fiance. That is the lover boy method, is women that go over to the US.
Yep.
They're clearly coming for citizenship, but these women kind of get duped and they sponsor these people.
The women on there know that they have 90 days to fall in love or not. I'm not saying that show is any good or that that's kind of a good thing to do, but they're all in on it from the start. Don't let that stop you, Candace. Some of the analogies that have been made in this so far are just mind-numbingly retarded.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean,
comparing those two, that's ridiculous.
I mean, if you pay attention to the fact that you could probably fit both thumbs between her eyes, I guess it makes a little sense.
This would be the same vein of what they're trying to describe. I've read it myself, of what human sex trafficking can be, which is
it's an
a
absolute
woman
reach.
fell for you, fell in love, moved over here overseas, but it's only because you were very convincing.
Yeah, that's not what it is. It is doing it purposefully to deceive her. It's not just she fell in love with me, you know, shit happens. It's doing it on purpose, especially when you're then planning for some kind of coercion. You fucking disingenuous bitch.
That is the definition given in the indictment of what they're referring to.
Correct. So I'll give a very quick rundown on the case. Everything from these old videos, old clips, my webcam company, things that happened 10 years ago have absolutely nothing to do with the current case. Absolutely
nothing to do with the current case. Nothing. Nothing, Jack. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Do I even have to go back to it? That 2016.
Yeah.
Now we have video that's important here, Jack. So we got to get a contextual video.
Oh.
Because remember, he doesn't do this anymore. It was all 10 years ago.
I'm glad to hear that you're not proud of the video. And I think that that's one of those things.
We'll actually catch up to this part later, but this is important.
Where I say that people don't allow you to grow up from things that you've done or said in the past. And this is obviously when you were operating a webcam business.
For 4 years, I ran a webcam studio, which people find very interesting. I had naked girls sitting on the internet talking to guys.
But you don't do you do that still?
I have 3 girls who still work for me.
I have 3 girls who still work for me. And that's important because you can see right down here, streamed live on January 21st, 2020.
Will you drop the link to that video in the chat so people can see it? The full thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it does add a lot of context about how he brags.
This is a compilation video. You can still go find that. That's all right. You can still go find the full video. This is one of his most braggadocious videos that he ever did, about how he used to, you know, be this shithead. But don't worry, he doesn't do it anymore. None of it has anything to do with what he's doing. Nothing. He doesn't do webcam. Hasn't done webcam for a decade. A decade. 3 years ago, he still had 3 girls working for him.
Mm-hmm.
You are a liar, you piece of shit. So either you were lying then. Once again, we have this case. Either he's lying then or he's lying now. And considering now he has a reason to lie, I gotta be honest, I'm more inclined to believe him before. Just throwing that out there. All right, back to Baldy Locks here.
Zero. Anything you see from before 2021 has nothing to do with the case.
The case literally mentions 2016.
17, 18, 19, 20, 18. 21. Yeah.
19 is the only one I haven't seen. 16, 17, 18, and 2021 and 2022. So
case against me is that from 2021, my brother and I, when we were already worth hundreds of millions of dollars and already successful and famous, created an organized criminal group.
You're a liar.
And our intention was
for the people who support him. I just showed you proof that the indictment itself, this was Candace, not me. She's the one that put it on the screen. Shows 2016 is when it started. That's where the indictment started from. He just told you all it says is from 2021. If he's willing to lie to you when you just had the proof from Candace, who is sucking his fucking dick, why in the world would you believe a single fucking thing this asshole says? How could you possibly be on his side? You know he's lying to you.
To convince women to move to Romania to make TikTok videos so we could steal the TikTok money.
And TikTok, and they mention OnlyFans.
Correct.
On the indictment page. And they
Ooh,
say
they brush
that
over that real quick.
Yeah, they did.
And OnlyFans. And
At
OnlyFans.
least she mentioned it.
But why is it important to mention the OnlyFans there, Jack?
Because he was forced. That's the accusation, is he was tricking these women into coming over so he could force them to do OnlyFans.
OnlyFans is what kind of content?
That's pay-to-view content.
It's pornography.
And porn, yeah.
Where TikTok is not. And that's why when you hear these two assholes, Tristan and Andy, talking about what happened, they will only ever tell you TikTok videos.
Yeah.
They never mention that OnlyFans part, which, by the way, is where they were selling porn after the webcam business switches to what is OnlyFans. Because they don't call OnlyFans webcamming anymore. It's still the same shit.
Yeah, but you could get like customized videos done. It's not just live camming.
You did this using the lover boy method.
Yeah.
And it almost reads, what's interesting to me and why I was compelled by this case is just that because they tremendously changed it. When they were investigating you, we were told that there was a woman who went to the UN who escaped your grip, and that, you know, she said, I've been held captive. And then after they investigated, they came up with what it sounded like regurgitated Andrew Tate videos.
After they investigated and looked into your life, it turns out that they arrested you for all of this shit you were bragging about. That's just a weird thing.
That's crazy.
That's I mean, it's like they just flipped the script. That's like saying, okay, they were coming into your house for drugs, but then they went through your computer and suddenly they were talking about how you were arrested for child porn. I mean, it's not drugs. Yeah, sometimes when they do investigating, they find more information, Candace. I know this blows your fucking little mind. And with that space between your eyes, you should have a bigger brain. What in the fuck me?
The lover boy method, which is in one of your videos where you're talking.
No, it's in several of his videos, sweetheart.
About women. So it seems like during that time where they held you in the cell, perhaps the initial case that they fed to the media fell apart.
Yeah, I believe what happened, and I have to be very careful what I say, but what I believe happened.
They went through my hard drive and I got screwed.
Is in April of last year, Tristan and I had some visitors here from America who were only in the country for 5 days.
I just want to point out again, Jack, 2016.
Made some very strange demands financially. When they were rejected, they called the American embassy and said they had been kidnapped. Those two women we deem now to be professionals. One of them has accused 7 men of kidnapping in her life. And she's also lawyered up instantly from a left-wing NGO because she's currently being sued by us.
She lawyered up when we sued her.
Yeah, weird how that happens.
This idiot just said she lawyered up when we sued her. Okay.
For false charges. And she seemed to be very well supported and funded. So I don't know if she was sent as an agent. We're not entirely sure.
The Matrix.
So this is a very interesting beginning to all of this in April. The Romanian authorities arrested us for precisely 2 hours and threw it out and knew it was all garbage from the beginning. The case remained open. Nobody understood why the case remained open. My lawyer made repeated requests to close the case. They wouldn't close the case. And
he lawyered up, Jack.
Yeah, they dismissed for getting more evidence. That's not that uncommon even here in the States.
remained open and absolutely and utterly dormant. When I was canceled, when I was deleted across all social media and canceled and lost my bank accounts, my Uber account, my Stripe account, my Gmail, absolutely everything, literally within the same week, the case was picked back up, which was very strange. I was followed. They tried to find evidence of any kind of crime at all. They couldn't find any crimes whatsoever. They then raided my house for a second time with the intent of getting my electronics, which they got. They went through all of my electronics and they could find nothing.
They found nothing, Jack.
Nothing at all, except for
nothing.
That one video where he's beating the chick.
Well, actually, that chick came out and said that she was fine with that.
So, like, he could have threatened her. I mean, he's bragged about having this war room where people go intimidate you. Like I said, he intimidated a reporter once.
We'll get to that too. But in the case of the beating video, that one's really old. For those of you who don't know, it ended up getting him kicked off of Big Brother UK, because this video comes out with him saying some pretty horrible shit to this woman and beating her with a belt. She came out right after that and was like, no, Andy's one of my best friends. That's just how we played. They have a different life than I do, Jack.
They have a much different life than I do, because I don't think I have ever beat anyone with a belt, not to my knowledge. And especially not a woman. And I've never met a woman that enjoyed being chased around a room with a belt. Maybe that's some sort of weird sex game thing, but that doesn't seem like anything I remember doing. I do some weird shit.
Of actual criminal intent. What they did find is my brother and I and our personal assistant, because at the time, if anyone who knows on the internet or has been around for a while will remember, my face was all over TikTok. You could not get rid of my face on TikTok. Me and my brother were explaining our strategy for how we got so big on TikTok to some friends of ours. They then said that we were forcing them to do the TikToks for our money, for our brand. They made this huge reach.
Notice he just did it again. Did he mention OnlyFans?
Nope.
OnlyFans is in the indictment. And that's actually where the indictment says that the porn was forced and that they were forced to make TikTok. Not that that's where the pornographic shit was made.
And said it's human trafficking because we're forcing women to make TikTok videos.
Yeah, so that's the part that read.
Okay, she read the indictment and she even brought up the TikTok a little bit ago. Why didn't she correct him again here? Wait, but what about the OnlyFans? They say you were doing that. Nah, she just lets that shit slide.
Yeah.
Registered to me as strange. It started as a kid. We were told it was kidnapping, which is it's very serious. Yeah. That somebody fled to the U.S. Embassy. This is the woman that you're talking about that you say.
You were told it was kidnapping because at the time the girl was saying she was being held against her will and the human trafficking part of it hadn't been discovered. That's why. That's all.
You're alleging has also accused 7 other men.
Alleging, it's literally now on Twitter. You can see the complaint we filed against her. 7 men she is accused of kidnapping. She's done it with 7 different boyfriends who didn't buy her what she wanted. One of them killed himself.
Now, I've heard that this guy did kill himself. I have no idea. But there is another guy who was banging her when she was 15. That's one of the accused, Andy. Just throwing that out there. He's in prison right now for banging her when she was 15.
Yeah, like your hate facts, they have no place here.
Don't bring up that part, Andy.
Okay, wow. So
she's a professional.
Okay, so it's very strange that she comes over, she accuses you of kidnapping her, but then they decide not to prosecute that, but they fed that to the media that you kidnapped someone, she fled to the U.S. Embassy. Yep. Then all of a sudden we learn that they're investigating you, and the charges then go from kidnapping to, well, actually what he was doing is a lover boy method, which we're saying is human sex trafficking. Yep. And that these women didn't know what they were getting into. They thought that he was going to marry them. Yep.
What do you think Candace thinks happens in a police investigation?
I don't think she understands how police investigations work, much less how the lover boy method works. Like, she's it's just a relationship that went bad. Cops are just being nosy.
Yeah, it's weird how they added charges. Yeah,
it's weird how
that's
they're
fucking weird.
Interpreting this as a crime.
Yeah, because no matter what you think of the two girls, I mean, he kind of conflates the two as they were both doing this. The one girl has that stuff against her, the other one does not. But one of the things that they told the embassy was that there were other girls there being forced to do this. Now,
Yeah.
Candace, just going to go way out on a fucking limb here. Maybe that's why they investigated. Maybe that's why they dug deeper. Maybe. Just a thought.
And actually, what he wanted them to do was just to make TikTok and OnlyFans videos.
Yeah. So the Loverboy method, traditionally, the way it would traditionally work, the reason it was criminalized and added to the criminal code is that I would be a Romanian man and I would meet a Romanian girl. We would get married. Marriage is part of it. I'm not married to anybody. We'd get married. We'd move to a richer country. You go from a poor country to a rich.
Actually, the Loverboy method only promises marriage, homie.
Yeah.
Marriage or a relationship. But he knows that the people watching this who are on his side, and Candace here, they're not going to look into that shit and actually read it. They're just going to go, yeah. See, he's being persecuted.
Country, let's say America, you put the girl into sexual work, let's say prostitution, and then I'll keep all the money and I'll control her or coerce her by pretending to love her. That's what
that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially if you did any research at all, even on Twitter, you would find a ton of links exposing him for doing exactly what he's accused of, where he admits it.
For bragging about it. But hey, that was 10 years ago, Jack, so no big deal.
Yeah, although these interviews are much more recent.
They're saying. That's how it traditionally works. Mm-hmm. They've accused me of using the Loverboy method because basically I was a nice person.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why. That's why.
That's totally it, buddy.
Look at that face right now. Is that not the face a kid makes to you when he's lying to you and you're like, why are you lying? I'm not lying.
Right?
I'm totally not lying. Why don't you believe me?
I was nice.
Yeah.
That's the thing that most people don't understand about the law. It's so ridiculously subjective. If they want to weaponize it and use it to attack you, that's exactly what they'll do.
So according to the indictment, when you got upset with a girl and had your little Georgina hoe pull on her titties that were freshly enlarged so that the stitches would pull, was that you being nice to him? I'm just curious. I'm really not sure how nice works.
You can accuse any man of using the Loverboy method if you send nice messages on a text message. If you're like, hey, baby, how are you?
So did you?
That's not what you're accused of. You are specifically accused of promising love or marriage. Not just, hey, baby, how are you? You fucking lying piece of shit. See, this is why the longer this has gone on, the more I think, yeah, this fucker probably belongs in jail. Because he lies repeatedly. You don't have to lie. You can tell the truth, but you just lie over and over and over again. Even if you want to pretend that what you did wasn't that bad, you weren't just going, hey, baby, how are you?
Did you promise to marry these women?
No, I didn't promise to marry anybody. What I had was girls, the two girls who were in the criminal file, asked me how to be famous on TikTok. I told them how to be famous on TikTok, and I spoke to them nicely the entire.
You just lied there.
Yeah.
The two girls in the criminal file.
You mean his co-conspirators? Because
those are the two he's talking about.
The two that are supporting him are his primary bitches. They're charged too. Yep. They're the ones that have come out and defended him because they're also being charged with human trafficking.
Well, there's two others. There's two others that have come out and defended. Oh, sorry about that. That's my desk drawer here. There's two others who've come out and defended him, and it's come out that Andy got himself taped setting up those videos to defend him. You got to get the girls to do this. Don't pay attention to that though. By the way, it's not two, it's seven. 7 women in the indictment.
Yeah, but he only ever talks about
these two women have come out.
Yeah. And his fans will repeat, it's 2, and even that's not real because they said it didn't happen. Sure.
out and made videos repeatedly saying we're not victims of anything. I don't know if you've seen them.
No. Okay. So you're
Why don't you tell her about how you were put through on a call by your assistant to them so that you could tell them to make the video? Why don't you share that? That is part of the record because your dumbass made that call from prison, not realizing you were being recorded. Yeah, sure.
so just to back this up.
The victims,
The victims in the indictment,
correct,
have made videos
Correct.
saying we're not victims.
correct.
I did not.
Which, if they were absolutely brainwashed like they're being accused of, they would say that because they can't go anywhere and they don't have any money. They don't have passports. Just
Victims in the indictment,
Correct.
have made videos
Correct.
saying we're not victims.
Correct.
I did not know that.
It's there. It's all over Twitter. In fact,
It's all over Twitter from your dumbass fans. Candace, how did you not know this? How did you not research at all for this? That blew up really big, what, a couple months back, Jack?
Yeah.
That Andrew Tate's victim said he didn't victimize them.
Until you read the indictment, and then it turns out there's 7. I think that Willie Mack is absolutely right on this, that a lot of these claims have been debunked, but they're in Romanian. So nobody's bothered to translate them, even though it's really easy to do. So a lot of the stuff that the Romanian police have put out to counteract his propaganda here is just in Romanian. They didn't bother to put it in English. If they'd put it in English, they might be getting a little more traction. So his version of events is about the only thing out there in the English-speaking world other than a handful of people that actually looked into this and have done some great work. As much as I hate Willie Mack's inability to say the plural of woman, he has done some pretty stellar work on this.
Yeah, I asked him yesterday on Twitter if he could please learn the difference between women and woman, and he told me no.
Yeah, I don't think he's capable at this point.
On my, I think it's my pinned tweet, you can see the criminal case against Andrew Tate. The 2 victims who the DCAR are accusing me of using Loverboy method on have made videos saying he just told us how to do social media. We're not victims.
I've never seen any of them being aggressive or rude. They've always respected people.
Ai fost amenințată?
Nu, n-am fost niciodată. Dacă eram amenințată, automat nu mai eram idiotă să stau în casa asta. Suntem prieteni buni de 2 ani de zile, cam așa, de să mă treci pe mine ca și victimă, dacă eu n-am spus că sunt o victimă.
They gave this statement to the police.
When you told them to. Don't forget that part, Andy.
That looks like a fucking hostage video.
Doesn't it? Well,
I'm being treated very well here.
One of them, at least, is living with one of Tristan's ex-girlfriends. So, you know, they're totally able to go do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, no oversight or influence at all.
Nah.
The police ignored it and said they're brainwashed. So they ignore it. So now we have a criminal case where we have girls who are saying they're not victims of anything. Me telling girls how to make money on TikTok.
Jack, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
TikTok. I fucking hate the way he says it.
I know. He's got a weird accent.
Have you ever heard of a woman calling the police and saying, my man beat me up? And then comes time for trial and still with the black eyes, she's like, nah, he ain't do nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Happens a lot in domestic violence. Happens more often than you think. Even when the cops go to arrest him, he could be beating the shit out of her on the spot. They put the handcuffs on. She'd be like, no, let him go. He didn't do nothing. I mean, have you ever seen an episode of Cops where this happens? It happens in real life all the fucking time.
No women ever go to bat for their man despite them being fucking horrible criminal shitbags.
Yeah,
ever.
Let's talk about the other 5 women that aren't being mentioned.
Yeah, no, we can't.
No, we just have to talk about these 2 that are like, these are upstanding gentlemen. Do I get my food this week?
YouTube is buffering the stream.
Well, remember, the War Room has people over at all the social medias, so you might be getting the numbers.
Yeah, they can do anything they want. Is anybody else having trouble? Is everybody having trouble? There's not much I can do about it. So we'll just have to persevere. Hasn't been buffering. Yeah, other people are saying it's you, so just refresh, Libra. All right, so here we go. Back to dipshit. We have 2 minutes more to get to till I want to get to the next thing. But you know what? Let's just jump ahead because I don't. We have so much to get through still. All right, the video is finally coming up, guys. This is the video of Andrew Tate telling us that he would teach women, or he would pull women into his game, right? Into his little perverse world. It's basically him describing how he turns girls out. And Candace, right before this, she goes, I want to get your opinion on this, or I want you to explain this video. And she plays this.
You cannot get a girl to work for you having fun. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course.
PhD course being pimping hose degree. Throwing that out there.
On Instagram, the PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention.
I just want to throw my recruitment system. You hear that?
Recruiting them to be your hose on OnlyFans? No, just TikTok.
He said recruitment. Pay attention to that word.
Until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal. No mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you f the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you.
For the record, the PhD test is just making a woman prove that she'll do anything for you. I'm paraphrasing if that's what it is. You test the limits of their love by, testing them constantly to make sure they'll do what you want them to do. Don't let that part get overblown or swept under the rug.
Then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me.
Okay, so first question, when was this video taken?
Yeah, so this video is from 10 years ago, and this is me explaining how having a webcam company, it's actually a larger video as a whole. I'm explaining how having a webcam company can affect your relationships and how it affects your dating life.
What?
That is not at all what that video is.
The closest you came to how it affects your dating life is, hey, don't tell the bitch you want her to be on OnlyFans for your profit early on. You gotta wait till she's hooked on you. That's it.
You gotta reel them in.
It also explains the fact that one of the girls I was dating at the time was working on webcam at the time. And it's explaining my general, overall, explains my life and how things are affected owning a pornography company, because obviously a lot of women will be put off by that.
Do you guys remember what I told you to remember from the beginning of his video where he said, it's how I recruit women? Well, on your dating life, sometimes they can be turned off. In your dating life, they can be turned off if you got OnlyFans. Yeah, I guess he was recruiting dates, Jack.
For other dudes to give them their entire houses and lives, yeah.
It doesn't explain. It doesn't say. I have to be very careful how I answer this question.
Because if I don't, it can be used against me in a court of law.
Yeah.
It doesn't say. I have to be very careful how I answer this question because I'm currently under an investigation. Right? So I'd be very careful how I answer it. People are trying to chop it up and say that it says I am using the Loverboy method to somehow convince women to do things they didn't want to do. This is obviously not the case, and none of this is in the case file for a reason because it doesn't exist, and none of these women are upset.
He keeps going back to none of it's in the case file. Okay, even if none of it made it into the case file, this is you still literally describing what you're accused of. Literally describing. Now, I want to go to another video for just a moment, Jack. Candace cut the video off.
No. What?
I know, right? Well, that's not. Damn it. I just want to show that this is where
she tests and she wants to be with you. Then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you're always busy.
Now, this is right where it cuts off with Candace. He's got one more line that he says, and then that's where it cuts off. We're going to watch for just a little longer.
You're always at work. You can come work for me. So, as I said, you cannot try and approach girls to do webcam.
Well, that kind of throws the whole, it's just the problems with dating into a tailspin, don't it? Specifically talking about approaching them to do it. You can't do it. You can't do it that way.
Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money.
And remember, the whole idea of this is for him to get money, not them. Just saying.
Any girl who wants money that bad is going to skank you and leave you when she realizes you get a big cut of it. So even
when that bitch realizes she's getting or doing all the work and getting very little money, that she gonna skank you, Jack, and leave it and do it on her own. This fucking guy.
if you do get a girl to say yes that way, even if you do say to a girl, look, let's make some money, she's only in it for the money. She's not in it to please you. And if she's only in it for the money, she's going to get pissed off with her cut. Because they're going to Google up how much a token's worth, how many tokens they made, and all that shit. And get pissed off with their cut. Remember the tax thing, so you only have to pay them 30% instead of 50%. It's important for your profitability. So you don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So
you mean promise them love so that they'll do it? That kind of sounds like the lover boy method.
The girl, you take her on dates, you fuck her, whatever. She passes the PhD test. Then you start saying things like, oh, yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. Oh, and you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So I'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So, okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen, come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. Your bottom bitch, the new girl, you go out for fucking a nice dinner. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear from a girl.
Now, that's important. That's important because two of the girls that worked for Andy that are, big fans of his are also under indictment for this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But isn't it amazing, Candace? She cut all this shit out. There's no mention of the bottom bitch. There's no mention of tricking the chick to take basically 70% of the income instead of the agreed upon 50% that he was, nice enough to give her for her doing all the work. A bottom bitch is also a prostitute though, right? Yes, absolutely. But anyway, you can find that video online. That's the video that I was telling you guys. You used to be able to find the whole thing on Andy Tate's channel just a week ago, Jack. Oddly enough, even though Andy here is going to tell us that he's happy that it's still online, it's been taken down. Weird. I guess somebody snuck in and the Matrix got to it. That's what it was.
Yes.
The Matrix got in there and
labeled
took it down.
the delete button.
But this is simply me explaining. It's actually a dating course I made a long time ago. And I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, to be honest with you, because it was 10 years ago.
It's going to be used against me in my prosecution.
Right.
Daryl, thank you. If under indictment, you should shut the fuck up. Yes, you should. And he is just running out there, running his mouth because he thinks this can be done with just a media campaign.
And I was talking about women and dating and things in a way that I wouldn't talk about them anymore.
Right. So,
well, no, because you're under indictment for doing that. It's not because you had some major change of heart. You still talk about this kind of nonsense, just in a more less obvious way.
So yeah, you look very young in the video.
I'm super young, and I'm talking about, hey, when you sleep with this girl, or you meet that girl, or you meet this girl on Instagram, and I have a webcam company. I don't tell them I have a webcam company, and I just think all that's kind of crass and it's below me, and I don't really like talking about it. And it's amazing how things change as you mature and you get older. But
as
once
you
again,
get older, you realize it's a really dumb idea to confess your crimes on camera.
I would hope so. I mean, if you don't realize that, you probably are in jail already, or you're really dumb. I don't think he's a dumb man. Necessarily. I think he's great at marketing, but
wait,
he probably did realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't be telling all this.
Devil's Advocate says, how did someone with as little self-awareness as he clearly has make so much money? He is very aware of what he's saying. Very aware. Now, if you're talking about how he was unaware of when he made the videos, I'm guessing he didn't realize what it was going to, that he was telling on himself the way he was. He was trying to be big pimping out there to sell stupid courses to dumb men.
To be fair, he may not have. Oh, sorry.
Real quick. Right now, he's absolutely aware of what he's saying. It's propaganda. Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
To be completely fair, he may not have known that it's a crime to do what he was doing. He may not have understood it as the lover boy method. He just thought it was a fun way to trick dumb bitches into getting their boobies out for money. And he may not have realized that what he was doing was an actual crime. I'm not, I'll give him a little bit of credit on that maybe he didn't realize that this was actually criminal activity.
He, even in that video, he refers to himself as a pimp, and was it positive, innovative, motivational piece of shit? I forget what the acronym he uses for it. So he knows it's pimping at the very least.
Yeah, but
he knows. And is prostitution legal in Romania?
I don't know, but
I have no idea.
Even if it's not, and he doesn't see it as prostitution, at least not in his mind. He may have convinced himself it's not.
I would give you that if he didn't call himself a pimp.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying.
A lot of people don't see digital pimping as pimping. And I think that's the problem, is a lot of people don't draw that distinction. A lot of the people that are defending him are saying that's exactly what it is. It's not pimping. You just have a cadre of women who work for you, and they're employees. They're trying to minimize this, so because in their mind, they're justifying it as not pimping, because they're not out on the corner taking dick from strangers. They're on the internet scamming them out of money. They don't see it as pimping, and the fact that these women can't leave because he's got their money, he's got their ID, their passports.
Spud says in Romania, it's not prostitution is not itself criminalized. Associated activities such as procuring are criminal offenses, and solicitation is a contravention punishable by fines. All right, so it may even be that he knew it was pimping and even considered it that, but not illegal where he was, so no big deal. But again, the problem is not just the lover boy getting them to like you. It's what you do with that.
Yeah.
If you're just some asshole who goes around making women fall in love with you, it's not illegal. It's what you do with that.
Again, I was a much younger man. I think if you were to take any 24-year-old and look at the stuff he puts on the internet, some of it's going to be stupid. And I think if you look at anybody who made things 10 years ago, some of it's going to be stupid. It's absolutely
10 years ago, I was not telling people how to break the law online. Just saying.
Yeah, same here.
Criminal in any regard. There's nothing criminal about it. It has no bearing or any interest in the current case.
He says that a lot. No bearing on the current case. It's literally you admitting to what you've been accused of. I don't know how to make that more plain. Anyhow, we're going to jump ahead again. This one is 204. Now we're back to where I don't know why I put this one in here. What do we got?
No. Has any of the girls who are being mentioned in that video come forward with anything other than defense of me? No. Nobody was actually hurt. It was just very brash, very arrogant, very bad delivery, which I regret.
Okay, I don't know about in that video anybody actually hurt, but there are complaints in the indictment of physical abuse. Just to be clear, just throwing that out there.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. If level with you as a human being, if I had to watch clips of me 10, 11 years ago, I would be red. Even the black girl go red. I couldn't even look. I wouldn't even want my husband to see it. So
that's why I did it, because her saying that right there. And I just wanted to ask her one more time, Candace, what the fuck were you doing 10 years ago that you are literally comparing it to pimping?
She was making that website that would dox people and get their info. Remember?
Hold that thought, because that's where we're jumping ahead to next. We need 2:16:36. All right, we're a little bit early, so we got to hear some stupid, but
all sorts of things. I mean, they hit me with an old anti-bullying company that I was trying to put together based on something that I lived through when I was in high school. And they tried to say essentially that I was trying to dox people.
It was literally a doxing website. That's literally what it was. It was called Social Autopsy. And the whole point of it was if somebody was mean to you online, get their information and put it out there online. And it was a place you could go look people up.
Still have to answer for a splash page for an anti-bullying company that I tried to create with the most goodness in my heart. And they still throw it at me. She's a fraud. This is not what she actually thinks. I mean, I have to answer the conspiracy. Some things are even crazy. That George's father is somehow related to the Rothschild. And I mean, it gets crazy. And the bigger your platform becomes, the more they dig into your history, and they'll dig into ex-boyfriends. I mean, it never goes away. But I'm hardened to the process. I am who I am. I'm proud. I actually am proud of a lot of the things that I lived through, a lot of the mistakes that I've made, because it made me who I am today.
It's interesting you say hardened to the process, because I think I am too. Because when I watch old content of mine or things I wish I didn't do or say, I will feel guilty, or I'll feel shameful, or I'll feel embarrassment because of me. I don't care what people think. Mm-hmm. I don't care if some conservative wants to watch a video and make a video. I don't care.
He doesn't care. He just
care.
doesn't
He
care.
just sends people to your house. He just exposes your address for his little thug army to go after you.
There's a video of him bragging about it. I don't have that one pulled up, but this is what Jack keeps referring to. A reporter was being critical of him, and so he brags about this on a stream. He drops the street name where the guy lives. And then when that didn't stop it, he dropped the address. And he brags about how that guy was really scared when the black SUV pulled up. I think that's in Willie Mack's latest video. You can check that out.
I'm dropping the link right now for Willie Mack's video, because he talks about it in there. And Tate says it in his own words. It's not Willie Mack paraphrasing or saying it. He has Tate saying this on an interview.
Yep. But hey, that was a couple of days ago, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that was like 5 days
Actually, I want to say it was like a year or two ago.
It may have even been a debate.
It was a debate. No, by his standard, it happened in the past, so you can't judge it now. Can't judge it now. This guy is a degenerate piece of shit. I don't care about his porn business. I really don't. I do care about the fact that it really looks like he was probably involved in what under Romanian law is human trafficking. That he was forcing these girls to do sex work. And if you read the files that came out, the war room, he has this war room in his Hustlers University for the toppity top of the people in there, where they go after other people. And they brag about their conquests. And there's one of him bragging, basically saying all of this stuff, where he just beats them down. I mean, there's even one part of it where after describing what he did to her, he says, "I almost feel evil." Let me see. I'm sure it's on this guy's feed somewhere. Da-da-da. No, that's the message. I don't want the message from them. Oh, yeah. Where's the one where he says, I almost feel guilty? Damn it. That's not it. That's just the messages. I can throw that into chat for anybody who wants to see the messages between Andrew and one of these chicks where, look, he's just being nice. That's what he's under indictment for. He was just being nice. So, is this the one? No, God damn it. I can't find the one that has the actual part where he says, or he's describing, he's cut her off from everybody. She's got no money. And he says, I brought her here, gave her food and nothing else. She's entirely dependent on me. But it's not a lover boy method.
No,
he's not coercing.
Method.
He's not coercing the girl into doing OnlyFans work. Nah, bruh. Nah, it's just TikTok. He's a degenerate piece of shit. I don't care how many things that he says that the red pill folks like. He is a degenerate piece of shit, and nobody should be looking up to this asshole. He is not good for men. He's not good for women. He's not even good for himself. He's a piece of shit. That's all. Jack, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, after looking more into him, I completely agree. This guy's a piece of garbage. And I think he did do the lover boy method. He was luring people over to a third world country, separating them from their families, and compelling them to do webcam shows where he kept the majority of the money and keeping them broke and virtually enslaved, if not completely, unless somebody else was going to pull them out of there. And he even said that, he could have people disappeared. So why wouldn't you start believing that if you're in a known corrupt country that's pretty much third world, and this guy has a lot of people around him that seem to be keeping an eye on you, why wouldn't you be a little concerned for your safety that if you didn't do what he said? So I think the case against him is pretty strong just based on his own words. And even if he was puffing on a lot of it and, trying to exaggerate things, those video clips are going to get him convicted.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about the evidentiary laws over there, but if those are allowed in court, yeah, the fucker's going to prison. Jack, can you confirm that last night, if I would have said what I wanted to on stream, I would have gotten in trouble?
Oh, yes, absolutely. It would have.
Absolutely.
Which I also agreed with, but that's not the point. Yeah. It could not have been said on stream.
Green Lady Gray says, I just hate that everyone kisses his ass, the people who interview him. I just hate that they don't actually do any research. Like, Tucker Carlson literally said, so there's no rape charge against you? There's two. There's fucking 2 rape charges against this guy.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to find that out. And instead, he just takes Andrew Tate's version of events. Just, if you're going to be one of these conservatives who's going to interview Andrew Tate for the clout, by all means, do so. I don't give a shit. But at the very least, know what the fuck you're talking about. And when he keeps coming out and going TikTok, mention OnlyFans, which is where they're saying you had the porn. Because on TikTok, you can't do the porn, Jack.
Yeah.
And that's why he pushes that so much, because then he can go, no, it's not even allowed over there. What are you talking about? Can't even do porn over there. You can on OnlyFans, which is where you had him doing the pornographic work.
Yep.
Piece of shit.
TikTok is just a marketing tool for the OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically how it's described in the indictment. So, guys, I do recommend, it can be hard to watch him sometimes, but watch Willie Mack. Forgive him for his inability to say the word women. But he goes more in depth with what Jack was talking about with the intimidation and shit in his latest video. I'm going to wrap up here. I feel like that's more than enough torture for the internet today. Or at least for now.
Yeah. True.
Thank you guys for joining me, Jack. Thank you guys for the donations. I should say that. because I really do appreciate it. I don't want to gloss over that. Just my brain went, we don't need to do the normal outro because it's an after party. That's my bad. That's my bad. Thank you guys so much for the donations. Jack, anything you want to show?
Nope. Thanks for the dono though, and check out Willie Mac's videos on this. Even if you're a Tate supporter, don't blindly follow anyone. Go check them out, see the video clips for yourself, and make your own judgment. If you're okay with it, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, definitely look at both sides of this one. Don't just take these softball interviews at face value. And thanks for the donos. You guys are awesome.
I would say, especially if you're on Andrew's side, go watch those videos. Go watch those videos, and if it doesn't make you ask questions, I don't know what to fucking tell you. With that, we're going to wrap up. Hopefully, we'll be back for the show later tonight at our normal-ish time. We don't have a normal time. At some time.
Night time.
I'll be honest with you, Jack. I haven't slept. I slept 3 hours last night, so I may pass out. I may not. We'll find out. We're going to roll the dice and see. Jack, thanks for joining me.
Always glad to be here.
Everybody, take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
This isn't Monkey in the Morning. I'm not singing a damn song. Damn it.